every week, tune in for the review. Mr. and Mrs. Chat serving hot like they do. Stand clear of the sidelines, we on the attack. Big Blue Tees, the podcast, ain't no looking back.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Big Blue Tee. Okay, let's dive right in. We're looking at the New York Giants today, and specifically, there's this potential move highlighted in the material we've got here that really jumps out. It's described as spicy.
Yeah, spicy is a good word for it.
Yeah.
And it signals something potentially, well, huge is the word used, about what the Giants front office truly believes about their quarterback situation.
Exactly. So this deep dive, it's all about unpacking that. What could this quarterback revolution, as it's framed here, actually look like for the Giants? We're basing this purely on the analysis in front of us.
And our mission here is really to dissect this specific potential trade, the one involving Jameis Winston, look hard at the current QB room through that lens and figure out the strategy, especially, what it means for the rookie, Jaxson Dart.
Right. Why does this feel less like just tweaking the roster and more like they're planting a flag, making a real statement?
Well, let's start with the trade itself. The core idea presented is trading Jameis Winston. We're talking a 10-year NFL veteran here.
Yeah, and maybe just for a 6th, possibly a 7th-round pick, that's pretty low compensation on the surface.
Especially when you look at his career numbers, laid out right here. Over 33,000 yards passing, 141 touchdowns. This is a guy who led the league in passing yards in 2019 with, over 5,100 yards?
He did. And he has 80 career starts. The material makes this interesting point that's more starts than Russell Wilson had TD passes last season. Wilson had 26.
And that contrast is central to the interpretation we're seeing here. Moving a guy with that kind of experience, that kind of production history for potentially a day 3 pick.
It leads directly to the analysis's main point. This isn't just shuffling deck chairs. It's presented as a significant statement by the organization.
Okay, so to really grasp that statement, we need to look at the whole quarterback room as it's described here. Let's start with Russell Wilson.
Right. He's positioned as being on that make-good deal, at the Denver situation, trying to rebuild some value.
And his stats last year, as you mentioned, 3,070 yards, 26 TDs, 8 picks. The analysis calls them decent numbers, which seems fair.
But it also clearly states he's a shell of his Seattle prime.
Yay.
That's pretty direct. So the role sketched out for him is definitely that mentor bridge QB.
Okay, then you have the rookie, Jaxson Dart from Ole Miss. The numbers from his senior year certainly pop out.
Yeah, 3,364 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, and crucially only 5 interceptions. Plus he added, over 400 yards rushing?
Exactly. And the buzz described internally, off the charts. There's mention of coaches calling him obsessed with learning the playbook. Sounds like he's making a strong impression.
And this is a big but, highlighted clearly in the material 0 NFL experience. Not one regular season snap. Hasn't faced that pro speed, that pro complexity.
Never read an NFL defense with elite corners and safeties bearing down. That's a massive leap, and the analysis doesn't shy away from pointing that out. It's a critical factor.
And then there's Tommy DeVito. Can't forget him.
Yeah.
The fan favorite.
Still there, QB4. And the material gives him credit. Those 4 starts last year were gritty. Posted a decent 6-to-3 TD to INT ratio.
Yeah, it suggests he's more than just a locker room vibe.
Mm-hmm.
He showed he could play a bit when called upon.
So that's the room. Wilson, the experienced bridge. Dart, the high upside rookie. DeVito, the gritty backup. And Winston, the veteran, potentially on the move.
Which brings us right back to that core question posed in this analysis. Why keep all 4? If Wilson's the mentor and you're high on Dart, where does Winston fit?
And this is where the logic for a potential Winston trade comes into focus if certain conditions are met. The argument presented here is pretty straightforward.
If Dart's development is truly ahead of schedule and Wilson is capably filling that meta bridge role,
then Winston, despite his experience, essentially becomes an expensive clipboard holder. That's the phrase used. Someone likely inactive on game days.
Right. And in that specific context, the thinking outlined is that getting anything back, even just a day 3 pick for that kind of player, is simply smart asset management.
It makes logical sense if you fully buy into Dart's rapid progress and Wilson's role. That's the key condition here.
But okay, let's talk about the flip side. This analysis hammers home the massive implications and the risks involved.
It does. It's stated very, very clearly. If you trade Winston now before the season really gets going, you are making a conscious decision. You're going all in on Jaxson Dart.
No ambiguity there. And the biggest risk highlighted is exactly what we just discussed. Dart's complete lack of real NFL game action. Practice is one thing, Sunday is entirely different.
Totally different. And think about the depth chart implications laid out here. If Winston is gone, and let's say Dart struggles in preseason or needs more time.
Your backup is DeVito. That's it.
Exactly. And the analysis points to the injury risk, too. One injury to Russell Wilson.
And you're in what the material calls uncharted waters.
Yeah.
A rookie potentially starting or DeVito stepping in again. It's thin, experience-wise.
Very thin. So it all boils down to this central question, this tension that the analysis builds. Is head coach Brian Daboll, along with the front office, genuinely ready to bet the franchise on a rookie quarterback, starting potentially week 1?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And the interpretation provided here is incredibly strong on this point.
Yeah, it says if Winston is traded, it means the front office believes Dart is the future. Now, not down the road, now.
That's a powerful statement of belief. And just to add that bit of historical context brought up here, the Giants haven't had a 4,000-yard passer since Eli Manning in 2015. There's a hunger for that next guy.
Absolutely. And the potential outcomes are laid out starkly. If Dart pops, hits the ground running, he could be the face of the franchise for years. Huge upside.
But the flip side, if he busts, struggles badly. The analysis suggests the current coaching staff could be gone by Black Monday. The stakes couldn't be higher.
Which is why this whole situation is framed as much more than roster management. It's called a quarterback revolution in real time.
So as we wrap this part up, this potential Winston trade really encapsulates the central dilemma presented in the material, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Is moving him potentially a genius bet on youth, banking on Dart's upside? Or is it bordering on a reckless roll of the dice, given the lack of a proven safety net behind Wilson?
It's definitely more than just a personnel move. This potential decision, as analyzed here, gives you, the listener, a really clear insight into the kind of pressure cooker NFL teams operate in. Evaluating talent, managing risk, especially at quarterback. It's intense.
It really forces you to consider the level of conviction involved. If this team is seriously contemplating going all in on Jaxson Dart this early by moving Winston.
Yeah, what must they be seeing? What specific signs of progress? What traits must Dart be showing already to make them feel comfortable taking that kind of leap, knowing he's never played an NFL down? It's a fascinating question to ponder based on everything we've just discussed here.
All right, well, I think that just about wraps things up for this deep dive.
Yeah, seems like a good place to pause.
Just wanted to say a massive thank you for tuning in to Big Blue Tea.
Absolutely. And, you know, a huge shout out always to Black Freezy TV.
Oh,
For
definitely.
the fantastic programming, the production, everything that makes this possible.
Yep, their work behind the scenes is just really appreciated.
It really is.